love white people. I love them like they love me.
You're looking at excerpts of an 8-minute profile of Mike Tyson and Don King, directed and produced by filmmaker Spike Lee for HBO last year. The controversial profile quoted King as saying, among other things, that black Americans have no heroes, that because of racist white America, black role models are swept under the rug, allowed to die, where white heroes live forever.
Our heroes die. White heroes never die. They live infinitely. You know, the John Waynes and the different things, but Marvin Gaye, one of the superheroes of our time, you don't hear about it, but Elvis Presley has earned more money in death than most niggas can earn in life.
Don King, convicted and pardoned felon, boxing promoter, impresario, has withstood FBI scrutiny, IRS audits, dozens of lawsuits. He's been involved in 3 more in the last month alone. He is outrageous, he is manipulative, he is, like him or not, one of sport's unlikeliest success stories. 20 years ago, Don King watched the Ali Frazier fight from a cell in an Ohio penitentiary, where he was convicted of manslaughter. Yet 20 years later, he has outrun his pursuers, he has outthought his critics, and at 58, he is still, very much to the chagrin of his detractors, the king of boxing. Today, King, is he the artist, or is he the con artist? We'll find out what he says up close.
Excuse me, master, for putting my head in the way of your club. Not that your club is brutalizing my head and putting hickeys on it. My head got in the way of your free swing and broke your shiny stick, and I want to apologize for that.
Okay, now in studio with props, here he is, Don King. You promise you're going to keep this stuff short. Quick promos. So you got King Vision here. You want a promo and the flag, right?
Yes, King Vision is the pay-per-view network that I formed, and with the help of Tony Cox of Showtime.
Right.
And so we have a joint venture called King Vision Pay-Per-View, which is the biggest and the best pay-per-view.
They're promoting the fight tonight that you'll see.
Yes, the March 18th fight will be our debut with the best card that's ever been presented to pay television pay-per-view.
And the flag?
And the flag is symbolic to the support of our troops in the Persian Gulf, the great guys with valor and courage that have so demonstrated their support. Only in America, right? So now get with it. Let's get down with what it is.
Let's get down. Now, some of this stuff I know that you're not going to be thrilled with, but we're going to go with it anyway. Let's start with Kevin Rooney, okay? Kevin Rooney came onto our show and laid it in big time to you. You use race as a cover, waving the red flag. Every time there's an issue, it's always racism. There's all kinds of props you use, crutches you use, using racism as the backdrop. First, let's listen to Kevin Rooney talking about just you and he head-to-head. Here's what he had to say.
Don King is intimidated by me because if I'm given the opportunity, when I was training my fighter, I'm the boss. And Mike went along with that. I remember the conversations where Mike said, when they asked him about Bill Kane and Jimmy Jacobs, they're the managers. I just worry about fighting. Now, an alcoholic, I haven't had a drink in over 10 months. So if I'm an alcoholic, how is that? I mean, I think that like it's funny because they're getting desperate.
You said he was an alcoholic. He says he's not no alcoholic. That was a low blow.
No, the name calling is irrelevant. The man's alcohol problem is a disease. He needs help, and let's go to 3AA. You know, the Alcoholics Anonymous to help him with that.
Okay.
So what do you want me to dignify about Kevin Rooney?
Do you feel that it's true that at times you've used racism as a flag, unnecessarily as a crutch, as a backdrop, to promote whatever it is you're trying to promote?
No. Categorically, no. Never have to use it. Racism is there. You deal with it as it is. I understand what racism is, and when you have a lot of negative coupling of negative associations with blackness, you think it's racism when you go back and you respond and react to that. What I do is just react to whatever it is, but I have never used racism to get any achievement or accomplishment I've made. I've always been on the other side of the letter. When they accused me of not being a concert promoter, I got the largest concert in the history of mankind with the Jackson family, $150 million. They said I couldn't be an agent. We just negotiated Benoit Benjamin, the largest contract, second to only Pat Hewitt.
Congratulations, by the way.
Okay. And now with Mike Tyson, they said I was going to take from him. I only got him $120 million.
Let me throw something at you.
What did they want? What are the other agents doing?
Let me throw something at you.
Something is wrong.
We saw the HBO special, okay, with Spike Lee.
Yes.
And it was very controversial, obviously. There's some black people who were offended by what you said because this is one of the things. You said, we, meaning black people, have no heroes. Our heroes die. White heroes live forever. Let me call you on this one. Joe Louis, black hero, lives forever. Nat King Cole, black hero, will live forever. Muhammad Ali, black hero. he will live forever even when he passes. How could you say blacks have no heroes that last forever?
Well, you don't ever take nothing else I say serious. Why would you take that serious? You know what I mean? It's just a little hyperbole.
You admit that was ridiculous.
Little exaggeration, but the point is well taken, because now we have debate about it. When you have the John Waynes and the Elvis Presleys who make more money dead than blacks can make alive, you got to understand what I'm trying to say is to get both the dramatic double standard. You understand? So they don't make black people heroes in the sense that they can have following, have something of substance. They take a basketball player, a boxer, a football player, and they make him the consensus of black opinion.
Okay.
That is wrong, because they're not educated to speak for the majority of the blacks, and they don't quite understand themselves. That's why they always end up in a situation of dire distress at the end of their career.
Okay.
So I just want to rectify the priorities.
Next issue. White man has taken advantage of black fighters. No question about that. But black men have taken advantage of black fighters, too. And there are many fighters, Don, you'd be the first to admit, who have taken you to court, black fighters. Most recently, Tim Weatherspoon has been waiting 5 years to get at you, who say that you manipulate black fighters. Come on.
That's only because the whites have told them that.
Oh,
You
come
must
on,
understand
Don.
now, it is the white that would be the rule rather than the exception. Blacks don't have black representation. That's what makes it so unique and extraordinary. That's why so much conversation and debate about me being with Tyson, me being with Benoit Benjamin, because it's so unusual. It's incongruous. So you must understand that if anybody's taking advantage of people, you got black and white that will manipulate and that will do unsavory things, you know, so it's always going to be that, you know, that the strong will always take advantage of the weak. But you must understand what I'm saying is, in the rule of the day, when they say that you don't want black, I don't want to have a guy with a white agent, the white agents is the rule. There's very few blacks that have any blacks representing them when it's all black cadre of the ones in the center of the ring.
Larry Holmes, you said recently to Mike Lupica in Esquire in a fine article, Larry Holmes is a very nondescript, bland man who just incidentally happens to be black, very talented boxer, you said. Don King's ingenuity brought him to the top and left him with $20 million. He's mad at me because he has an Oedipus complex. I've done more for Larry Holmes than he could do for himself. I taught him how to read and write. I'm talking about sitting up at night trying to help the human being elevate himself. Now we find him one of my condemners. You really believe all of those things?
Believe it, it's true. Categorically, how can you refute it? Is it refutable?
You taught him to read and write?
Yes, we helped them to learn how to read and write. You see, you don't understand black life in America. You know what I mean? You come from a nice Jewish home.
Oh, great education. Start with the nice
you know
Jewish
what I mean?
thing.
Well, you did do it. It's the truth. But do you deny it? Are you gonna,
never.
All right, then. Well, come on, then.
Why,
give your parents they do.
But why
give your
bring that
parents
into the issue?
What do you mean why bring it into the issue? Because it's a part of the equation.
Okay.
You understand? You can't make an equation and find out what the answer and resolve it without knowing what the proponents and the parts are.
The ethnicity. Okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, so now what I did for Larry Holmes is more than I did for his son. I did more than his father did for him. All right? But the fact of the matter is, that doesn't mean that I want Larry to say good things about me. I care less than a damn about what Larry would say about me one way or the other. But the fact of the matter is, Larry should be more concerned about what he's doing. He's got $20 million. He's got a hotel. He's got 2 office buildings, one named for Diane and one named for himself. How did he get it? By osmosis? He's my greatest
How about
testimony.
Boxing? He boxed.
No. But who did all of his maneuvering? Who did all of his negotiating? Who did everything that was necessary for his career, the furtherance of his career?
Right.
When I said that he was a bland fighter, he was. You know what I mean? But he was a great fighter, but he was nondescript as far as charisma is concerned.
We got to go because we got to go to a break. We're going to come back. We'll come back with some more.
With it.
More with Don King. Come on with it. We'll do it.
It's hard to accept the truth.
Up close after this.
Up Close is brought to you by Budweiser, the king of beers with that clean, crisp, cold taste. Nothing beats a Bud.
In this month's issue of Esquire, Mike Lupica wrote of Don King. He is one of the most remarkable figures in the history of sports. He could have become the important black voice he desperately wants to be. Up close with King, you see the brains, you see the charm, you see the passion. Ultimately, though, you have to see the hustler in him. The man is full of anger. It is more impressive than his whole range of thought from Hitler to the Bible. Don King knows how smart he is, but he wants more. He wants respect, and unfortunately, he is trapped in this wild-haired character he elevated for himself. No one could see past that, and King understands that and makes him mad. Do you have a need to be taken seriously?
Now, listen, I think, first of all, let me say that I think that Mike Lupica is one of the fair guys out here. He's a renowned writer, and I tip my hat to him. He has a great command of words, and he knows how to put them down in great form. I'm not angry with anyone. What he...
You're not angry with yourself sometimes?
Oh, no, 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 no. I'm never angry with myself. I just keep striding, keep praying, keep trying to change myself for the better. And I love all people, all races, colors, creeds, and religion. This is a great nation. To have me here on your show waving the flag and talking about America, hey, he's got a right to his opinion. That's his prerogative. But I'm not angry with anyone.
What about those who say, anytime there's criticism of King, he again, we get back to the issue of race, but beyond that, that nobody is valid in their criticism of either Mike Tyson or Don King. Let's start with Larry Merchant from HBO, who came into our show, and Mike more or less said the reason you guys left, one of the big reasons, was because he was too biased. Let's listen to Larry Merchant, what he had to say in his coverage of Mike Tyson and the Don King camp. We'll react.
When he started to get into all sorts of public antics, cracking up cars and fighting at 4 o'clock in the morning in Harlem with Mitch Green and a messy divorce and all of that, the only interest that I had in that was how was it going to affect Mike Tyson as a fighter.
And it's your job to report that as part of the picture.
Well, not only that, but I didn't report what anybody else didn't report.
That's right.
I didn't condemn him for it. I was curious about how the loss of Kevin Rooney, how was that going to affect Mike Tyson as a prize fighter? That's my only interest in it. I could care less about Mike Tyson's private life.
Did you try to get him fired? Larry?
No. Oh, we never tried to get Larry Merchant fired, but let me go back to something you said. When you guys bring the racism in, I just give you the facts of what it is, and then you have to judge it what it is. You guys said, I don't cry foul and say racism. I just tell you the double standard of how it's being prospectively put, you know, and so we deal with it from there. Then y'all put the label to it, and then you say, look at Don King saying this, that, and the other. I only repeat what I know is the truth. And when I fight for the rights of the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, the Declaration of Independence, that's what I say. Well, don't deny me that. I don't deny you that.
Right.
I love my country, man, and I love our Constitution. Now, with Larry Merchant, we never tried to get Larry Merchant fired. Do I like Larry Merchant? No. Is Larry Merchant biased? Yes. You understand me? So, but have I complained about Larry Merchant? Incessantly. You know, but to tell somebody to fire, that's abrogating the Constitution. You don't take people's right to a livelihood, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. We've never said that. What we did say is that we didn't want to give a platform to Larry Merchant to destroy us. If he's going to do that, if he's going to undertake that task, let him go out and provide out the information. Let him get his own program to do that on, not one where we, in effect, is paying him by our presence to have him try to destroy us, demean us.
In my opinion, it's very paranoid, but that's your opinion. Let me move on. A couple of quick thoughts.
No, that's your opinion.
That's what I'm saying. It's my opinion.
Your opinion. You say it's paranoid, but it's not paranoid. Okay. It's, again, the coupling of negative association.
But it's my opinion, Don.
Yeah, but you can have your opinion.
Okay.
Because you don't quite understand. The association, association of negativism, the perception, the image, becomes believable.
Okay, before we go, because there's a number of things I want to get
Okay, get to
You called Evander Holyfield a nigger, too, recently, and that's
Is he? Oh, tell me the truth now. You tell me that he isn't.
No, I don't think he's a nigger. I think he's a black man who happens to be...
You
think that's because of white guilt? I'm not saying it?
Everybody has their opinion, but the only constant has been nigger.
But
throughout 400 years.
You've said
all
it
right,
before.
so now you got to understand. Now, if you're going to make him white, that's great.
But
that's what I may think he is, too. Maybe he's my color, but not my kind.
You said big business spits on the name of Holyfield. The people who like him because he's docile, because he can be controlled, run Johnny, sing Johnny, dance Johnny. Like a step in fashion.
Is that incorrect?
I think so.
Give me one instance.
You don't think he has dignity to himself?
He may have, but he don't utilize it. He never demonstrates it. He lets guys do duplicitous, treacherous, egregious things to him, and he just goes right along, never gives always a smile, an altar boy, a candle boy. He stands for nothing, so he don't live for nothing.
You're saying he's an Uncle Tom?
I'm saying you...
No,
boy, but you are finding all the right names.
I'm asking
I have to agree with you, Roy.
You do
I have to agree with you because he wants to be less objectionable and more acceptable.
And you think George's going to beat him?
Certainly. Yes, and you know what? I've been the biggest ticket seller for them in their event. They don't even promote their own event. Yeah. I got to promote 2 events, but mine is self-promoting with Razor, Ruddock, and Tyson. It's the real fight, the best fight. It's the right fight.
Self-promoting is right. Don King. He's something else. We'll come back in just a few moments. Alex Wallow of ABC Sports is going to join us. Talk about what is true and what is not true about Don King after this.
Limousine service provided by Music Express, voted #1 by the National Limousine Association. With offices in Los Angeles and the East Coast, Music Express can handle your corporate limousine needs anywhere in the U.S. and worldwide.
Alex Wallow has been with ABC Sports for 15 years, the last 5 as a boxing announcer. He'll be at the fight tonight between Tyson and Ruddock. He joins us now in the studio. You heard Don King sometimes at length about a number of issues. What do you think, generally speaking, after all these years, you know is true about King and what is not true about King?
Well, I think you captured a lot of what's true about him in your introduction to him. He is not only a survivor, he has prospered and just made a tremendous amount of money. He has manipulated the race issue without question. I mean, he can't even keep a straight face when he denies that he has. I don't think he's a racist. I don't know the man well, really, other than, you know, hearing that kind of stuff since 1976 when ABC Sports started to do business with him. But I just feel that he is a person who understands self-promotion, is brilliant, as the Lupica piece said, and, you know, at the end of the day, I think we'll look back on his career and know a lot more about him after this Tyson relationship, see how this plays out. I think this is the crucial fact, the crucial factor in how Don is going to be judged long-term, is how the relationship with Mike Tyson works out. If Mike Tyson goes into his old age and says at the end of the day that Don King was the best thing that ever happened to me and I've become a rich man and stayed a rich man because of his guidance and leadership, then I think Don will be viewed one way. But if Mike Tyson turns the way some of the lesser fighters have turned, Tim Witherspoon and a major name like Larry Holmes, then I think Don's going to have a hard time justifying his claim to be what he says he is.
The Tyson-Ruddock fight tonight. You say the very fight that King is putting on, by the way, the major risk, leaving HBO and doing the Showtime pay-per-view, underscores the issue. King may be acting more for King and his own benefit than the benefit of Mike Tyson.
Well, the point I'm trying to make on that, Roy, is this. There are cases in a fight promotion when what is good for Don is not good for Mike, and the case in this promotion is very, very simple. Don had problems with Julio Cesar Chavez. To keep him in his camp and to get him to sign a new contract, he put Julio on the undercard of this show tonight for an estimated $2 million in purse. Got an opponent for several $100,000 in purse. As another undercard fight, Simon Brown, one of the top fighters in the world today, Don was trying to get him to come over to his camp. In order to do that, he got him a very good fight, Simon Brown, against Maurice Blocker. An outstanding fight, costing maybe in the neighborhood of $1.5 million. So there's $3 million on an undercard, $3 to $3.5 million of an undercard that brings very little in terms of revenue to the pay-per-view show, and it's coming out of Mike Tyson's money. What Don has done is use the revenue from this show to cement a relationship with Simon Brown, cement a relationship with Julio Cesar Chavez, but he's taken money that could go to Mike Tyson, that Mike Tyson has drawn into the promotion.
Very good point.
And I think if Mike Tyson, at some point, Mike Tyson should get somebody, he should hire somebody who works for him to advise him. I think it's very difficult for Mike to continue to go on taking Don's advice on financial matters.
Razor Ruddock, does he have any chance at all? We've seen him display big power, but now there's talk that he's got a bad right hand. How long will this fight last tonight? We're going to see Ruddock in action against Dokes.
Well, this is the point in the fight where Razor is just tremendously impressive, knocking Michael Dokes out, destroying him. What that clip doesn't show is earlier in that fight when Michael Dokes had Razor Ruddock in trouble. You might remember also the Bone Crusher Smith fight in which Bone Crusher had Razor down. The reason I think this fight is going to go very, very short, I picked Tyson in 2 rounds by knockout, is because Mike Tyson is so quick that if you can be hurt by people like Bone Crusher Smith and dropped, the punches are going to get there that much faster, and I just don't see Razor being able to combat with that.
Alex Wallow of ABC Sports. We'll come back, talk about Foreman and Holyfield. We'll also talk about Riddick Bowe, an up-and-coming heavyweight, and the Haugen Camacho fight. It's after this.
Travel arranged through Continental. Whether you're taking off for a family vacation or a romantic getaway, Continental, because one airline can make a difference.
Alex Wallow, ABC Sports boxing analyst, joining us. I want to talk about George Foreman, Big George. Larry Merchant put it this way. He said, George is adorable. Everybody loves George. He's good for the sport, keeps the typewriters moving. But he has no chance against Holyfield. I just hope he doesn't get hurt against Holyfield next month. Your thoughts on George?
I disagree with Larry about George having no chance. Larry knows and everybody knows that if George hits somebody, he's going to knock him out. He can hurt him and knock him out. He certainly showed against Cooney he can finish somebody. The key thing is, the question in the fight is, will he be able to hit Evander? Evander showed something in the Douglas fight that surprised me. He showed a little bit of movement and ability to avoid Buster's jab, and Buster had a good jab. I think Evander's still improving. I think that's a point that a lot of people haven't really focused on. I don't give George no chance, but I do think that Evander should be closer to a 10-to-1 favorite than a 4-to-1 favorite.
All right, let's talk about Holyfield. Assuming Tyson wins tonight, by the way, this is going to be seen twice, early and late. Does Evander Holyfield have enough to stop Tyson?
No.
Why?
I just don't think he has the defensive ability to make Mike miss. I'm a big Evander Holyfield fan. I think he represents a throwback kind of fighter, a guy who's always well-conditioned, a guy who's focused and gives the people every bit that he has of himself, and I really like him, and I admire him. I just don't think that he has enough defensive ability to make Tyson miss. I just think Mike's got too much power for him, and speed.
You just did a fight with Ruddock Bowe, also from Brooklyn, New York, a young fighter, although not as young as Tyson. There's talk that maybe September he'll be taking on a fight. Does he have the goods? Do you think he could be a good fighter down the road?
He could be a good fighter down the road, but I think way down the road. I think a September fight would just be a case of throwing Ruddock to the wolves, and I don't think Eddie Futch, who was training Ruddock, will let that happen. He proved in his fight with Terrell Biggs that he has some good things. He did score a knockout, but he also has some things he needs to work on. He was hurt a couple of times in that fight, and I just don't think at this stage that Ruddock, who has a great body and a lot of things, good things about him, he should just continue to fight quality opponents, continue to learn his trade, and I think we'll be able to find out things about him further down the road. But to throw him in this year with Tyson, I think would be very, very wrong.
And 30 seconds, Greg Haugen, Hector Camacho. You saw that fight, obviously, broadcast that fight. Do you think that the referee took too much away when they took it away from Macho, and that right here, this moment, and gave Haugen the fight?
Two things wrong with what Carlos Padilla did. One, he shouldn't take points away because the punches didn't land it, but I thought more importantly, it was Camacho that had his glove out, willing to touch gloves. It wasn't Haugen.
Was he robbed then, Camacho?
I thought it was an unfair decision, but I think Hector invited that robbery by fighting a horrible fight, and I was, even though I had the fight scored a draw myself, I was not displeased to see the result. I just think Hector cheated himself.
Enjoy the fight tonight, Alex.
Thanks very much.
Good seeing you again. Stay well.
Nice to see you.
Okay. We'll come back more up close after this.
Up Close has been brought to you by Levi's Dockers. Relax, you're among friends.
We thank our guests, Alex Wallow and Don King, for joining us. Tomorrow, Philip H. Knight of Nike, a reclusive hermit-like chairman of the board for Nike. A rare interview. That's tomorrow, Up Close. See you then.
Another turn as Tyson and Donovan Razor Ruddock go to the Mirage Hotel, where Tyson hopes to set himself up for a title shot against the winner of next month's Foreman Holyfield bout. ESPN's Charlie Steiner, Al Bernstein, and Wally Matthews have also taken the road to Las Vegas, so let's go there now for the latest on the big fight tonight. Charlie?
You have arrived at the last stop on the road to the Tyson-Ruddock fight. 4 hours from now in the ring, maybe 100 yards behind us, Mike Tyson and Donovan Razor Ruddock will have at it in what is effectively a heavyweight elimination tournament, the winner with an eventual shot at whoever the heavyweight champion will be after the 19th of April. Some question going into the fight tonight was the weather. There was a chance of showers in the forecast earlier in the week. However, we are happy to report the temperature will be between 50 and 55 degrees and clear skies tonight when the fight begins. Maybe a chance of showers well after the night is over. Well, if the three of us happen to be in tuxedos, you know it's fight night. This is Wally Matthews, of course, and Al Bernstein, the ESPN boxing analyst. A lot of talk this week as to whether or not Razor Ruddock has a legitimate shot at taking out Mike Tyson. Your thoughts, Wally?
Well, I think anybody that can punch the way Razor Ruddock can has got to have a shot with Mike Tyson. Don't forget, we now know Mike Tyson can be knocked out, and I also know Razor Ruddock can knock somebody out.
Al Bernstein, what is Razor Ruddock going to have to do to win this thing?
Well, I think he's going to have to make Mike Tyson respect him early with one of those left-hand uppercut half hooks. And I say left hand because I have a feeling he's going to be using mostly the left hand, Charlie. I'm convinced there's something wrong with his right hand, and he may not be able to use it as much as he wants. He's going to have to get respect from Tyson early and then keep his composure.
What about the right hand? More importantly, what about him not sparring down the stretch?
Well, that's the real indication that there is something wrong with Razor Ruddock. I mean, you don't go into a fight against Mike Tyson without sparring for 2 weeks. I'm not sure so much that it's the hand, Charlie. It might very well be a torn right bicep that he's had for about 5 years now. He's never had surgery on it. Apparently, it acts up when in the latter stages of training, and he has to knock off sparring.
Prediction now?
Well, I'll tell you what, I think this is going to be a wild fight for about 4 or 5 rounds. I mean, wild. A lot of crazy things happening. And then I think probably one or the other is going to get knocked out. And if I had to go with it, you've got to go with Tyson winning in this match, simply because he is probably healthier, he's strong, and he understands what it is to be in pressure like this. I would go with Tyson probably in the 5th or 6th round.
And Wally, your quick prediction?
Well, I also agree that Tyson should win the fight by knockout, but I think he's in danger if he dips to his right without getting too technical and tries to throw that right uppercut, because he moves right into Razor's only good weapon, that's the left hand.
Mike Tyson is the pick here, and later on in this edition of Sports Center, a conversation with Mike Tyson as our coverage of the Tyson-Ruddock fight continues from Las Vegas as Sports Center rolls on in 2 minutes.